Perfect parking. Just a little bit out the back. Alright. Alright. Oh, and they're not there. Well, that's just great. Well, that happened. Anyways, so to start the mod Warium, you first have to kill a creeper in survival, and he will give you gunpowder, and then that will open up the advancement tab, which kind of guides you down everything, but gunpowder is going to be very important. So the first item we're going to make is a chisel. So we're going to use any type of plank, a stick, and iron, and it'll give you a chisel. And then we're going to make this machine right here, the first machine, which is called the mineral grinder. It's going to take 4 iron, a normal piston, a cauldron, and iron bars. And then it'll give you the mineral grinder. Then you're going to make iron gears for the mineral grinder, which is 4 iron nuggets, iron ingot, and cobble. And that's what you'll use in here. It'll go here. And then we're going to continue. This is blast clay, which takes mud, sand, gravel, and cobble. And then you put it in a furnace to turn it to blast bricks. And then 8 blast bricks and a furnace makes the firebox, which is where you put fuel. Then we need to make an alloy furnace, which is 7 blast bricks, a bucket, and a furnace. After that, 6 blast bricks with the middle empty will make a blast funnel, which goes on top. And then the last machine we're going to make is the foundry. So it takes 5 blast bricks, 4 blast furnace bricks, a smooth stone slab, and a furnace. This real quick. So now that you have the mineral grinder, your alloy furnace, and your foundry, you can start making everything for tier 1. So you take your mineral grinder. I have a steel gear in here, which you'll learn about more. But you can get iron to make iron dust, beryllium for beryllium dust. I don't know why that's not right. Raw gold for gold dust, raw nickel for nickel dust, raw lead for lead dust. Oh, there's zinc. Those are swapped. My bad. Raw copper, copper dust, raw uranium for uranium dust, raw beryllium for beryllium dust. That's correct now. And then bauxite will be like this block. You'll find it in large chunks. You grind it to get bauxite dust, and then you smelt bauxite dust to get a small aluminum dust, and then 4 small aluminum dust makes 1. I'll show you right here. Take it, 4, you get aluminum dust. Back there. The 2 base things you're going to make inside the blast furnace or the alloy furnace is steel and brass. Steel is 2 iron dust, which will give you 1 steel ingot, and brass is zinc and copper, which will give you a brass ingot. Next we will teach you... Oh, okay, well, we'll come back to that. To make a... Oh, actually no, you do need to know this, my bad. So you take a chisel and any plank to make a wood component, and then a hammer and a steel ingot makes a steel plate. Now how do you make a hammer? 2 wood components and a steel ingot, 2 steel ingots, and then you have your hammer. And then your third and final tool you're going to need for everything are your cutters, which will be 2 wood components, 2 steel plates. So you have to hammer the plates, and you'll get your cutters. Now, you may be wondering, there's a foundry. What I'd use the foundry for? You're going to need to make empty foundry templates. So 4 clay and a piece of sand will make a foundry, empty foundry template. Then you can make a large foundry template with 4 clay and a piece of sand. And then we take the wonderful foundry and Put coal in the bottom to heat it up. It burns through coal really fast, so make sure you have stacks of coal. And these are all of the rest. Now this may look like a lot, maybe a little overwhelming, but it's very simple. So your empty foundry template can be turned into component foundry, cylinder, small projectile, medium projectile, large projectile, extra large projectile, and huge projectile. And for all the small or normal foundry templates, these are the ratios. 1 steel gives you a cast component. 1 steel gives you a cast cylinder. And then 3 lead nuggets gives you small projectile, 6 nuggets for medium, 1 ingot for large, 3 ingots for extra large, and 6 ingots for huge. And how do you get these foundry templates, you may ask? Well, we're going to take our empty foundry template, throw it in here, and then we got our component. And you can just cycle all the way through all the small ones. So you can make multiple of these if you want, but in the end, get all of them from just one. So until you get to automation or whatever, you can make all of them, or you could just rock one and then just change it out when you need. And the same goes for the large. But for the large is all your barrels. So 1 steel ingot gives you a small unbored. You have to bore these later. 3 gives you a medium, 4 for large, 6 for huge, 8 for small cannon barrel, and then a block for a medium unbored cannon, and also for the large unbored cannon. And then 2 blocks for the huge unbored cannon. Now, we're going to come over here for your next components to craft. So you're going to take your cutters and a steel plate to give you steel wire. And this can be cutters and a copper plate for your copper wire. And then from further, you can process it more. So you take a hammer and you press it to make steel springs or copper coils. And then to get your steel gear I had back there, you're going to take a cast component and put it in your crafting table, and it'll give you a steel gear. And steel gears do not wear down in the crusher, so you can have 1 steel gear forever instead of your iron. So getting a steel gear early game is very important. Next we have the cut component and the bent component. So your cutters and a bent component will give you the cut. How do you get a bent component? Your hammer and a steel plate. So it goes from steel ingot to steel plate to bent, bent to cut. And then the next core component is an electric motor. So you're going to take your 2 bent components at the top, 2 redstone, 4 copper coils, and a nickel ingot. You'll get an electric motor. The electric motor is one of the many components you'll use all the way up to tier 4. Another one is mechanical components. Mechanical components are made of a steel gear, a cast component, a cut component, and a steel spring. If I mix this up and call it a steel coil, then my bad, or the copper a steel, or the copper a copper spring. It's just because they look very similar. And then the first, or I guess the second, well, this is actually an automation machine. So your first automation machine will be the lathe. This is very important. This does all your chiseling for you automatically, and this has no durability like your chisel. So you're going to take 2 mechanical components, an electric motor, 4 steel ingots, a steel spring, and a cast component. And that will give you your lathe, which has this interface. Now you may be asking, well, there's just 1 square. How does it work? I'll show you very shortly. Now for automation and moving things around, you could use hoppers, or you can use conveyors from the mod. Conveyors take 4 steel ingots, leather, redstone, and 2 planks of your choice. You can also make a conveyor drop-off, which will drop things down, but you can honestly just put a hopper underneath a normal one, and it'll work the same. But this is pretty much a hoppered conveyor. And that's just a normal one and a steel ingot. The last for movement is a conveyor lift. So hoppers go down, but this can go up. So it takes 2 steel ingots, 2 redstone, and the normal conveyor. And this is a very basic setup for a lathe, but it's very effective. And this is all the crafting components. I'll demonstrate one of them, but right now we're going to go through it. So your components you got from the foundry can be further processed. Your cast component can be turned to a board component, cast cylinder to a steel tube, brass ingot to a brass fitting, and then your large, extra large, and huge projectiles can be lathed into hollow projectiles. These will be important for later. And then your bores. Now you could chisel your bores, or you can throw them through here. Bores. Why am I saying bores? Barrels. So your barrels can be turned into small bored, medium, large, huge autocannon. Now there are 2 autocannon, but that's because the small and medium can both be transferred into an autocannon barrel. The large turns into a battle cannon, and the huge into an artillery barrel. Now I will demonstrate the cast component, and we'll do a brass ingot too. So, an important part of Warium is the non-color side means it can be input. Red means an output. So you want to keep that very in your mind all the time. Same as the conveyors. Red means direction. So this goes left to right. So I'm going to take my cast component, throw it in. It's going to make a noise. Go through there, into the hopper. And now I have my board component. And the same for the brass ingot. If the noise and the little sparks does not happen, that means nothing happened. Like, let's just say I threw my spyglass in there on accident. Uh-oh. Nothing happened. It's okay. So now that you have all your components, we're going to talk about gasoline, diesel, kerosene, just all your oil production. So this first thing is an oil refinery. You'll only need about one of these. It takes 2 steel tubes, 4 blast bricks, 2 steel ingots, and a furnace in the middle. Then, you're going to need oil refinery towers. You're going to want to make about 4 of these per setup. So we have 4 ingots, 2 blast funnels, a block of nickel, and the 2 tubes. And you'll get about 1 of these per craft. So you're going to need 4 of all of this. Then finally, this isn't part of it, but this is a very helpful future component, kerosene firebox. So, you may have realized earlier, if I can find coal, this eats up coal, but the kerosene firebox, which runs off kerosene, burns a lot more stuff for 1 bucket's worth. So, you have your 4 blast bricks, a tube, a firebox, a bucket, and 2 plates. And now I will demonstrate the oil processing. So while you're mining, you're going to find shell oil. Shell oil turns 4 into 1 of these. So, if I come here, 1, 2, 3, 4, nothing happened. It's because I have to heat it up. So for this one, I will demonstrate how fast it burns through coal to produce it, and then over here I will show kerosene. So we're going to throw a stack in there. Each time you hear that fire noise, that is a piece of coal being eaten. Your coal is being used. And until it processes, you're going to burn through a lot. So produce 1 bucket of oil, diesel, kerosene, and petroleum. You just burned through 8 pieces of coal. That's a lot. But now you can collect each of those buckets. Now a very important thing to remember is these 4 buckets correlate to each of these components. So your oil is going to be in your first tier, diesel in the second, kerosene in the third, and petroleum in the very top. Now we're going to demonstrate how fast we burn through a bucket of kerosene. I'm actually going to put a whole stack in there so we can see how much 1 bucket makes. Burning very fast to start with, but that's how it's eating the whole bucket. up the temperature. Let this sit for a second. And now it does have a very nice smoke fire coming off the top. Might do a whole stack. I'm gonna stop it real quick. Well, it looks like it'll do a whole stack and more. So, as you can see, one bucket turns a lot. And shale oil is very abundant, so do not worry about being low on oil. I'm gonna put these buckets back. Actually, I'll grab a bucket of kerosene. Nope, that was petroleum. So technically, this kerosene firebox is considered a tier 2 component. So, when you get some more tier 2 stuff, this will be very helpful, but most stuff you can make without this. It's just a quality of life block. Now, we're going to get into making your first gun and very important components for later crafting. So, this is an advanced component. These will be very useful later on. So it is going to take oil, board component, mechanical component, copper coil, electrical motor, and a steel wire. And that will give you an advanced component. Now these next three things are to make small engines, which are used for one item for now, but will be implemented later. 2 steel wires, a board component, and a cast component will give you a combustion cylinder. Now a combustion cylinder is combined with a tube, a brass fitting, an advanced component, and a mechanical component to give you a combustion component. Combustion cylinder, combustion component. Very close in names. Now you're going to need 2 of these to make your small engine. Advanced component, mechanical component. 2 cast components, 2 steel plates, and a steel tube. And that will give you your small engine. Now, this will be used later on, but they're very important for crafting. Now, time for your first guns and gun components. We're going to make a firing pin. We're going to take a cast component, steel wire, and a steel spring. And that will give you a firing pin. Then, your firing pin enters a tube to give you a weapon bolt. Then, you take 2 bent components, a mechanical component and a cut component, to make your firing mechanism. You can also take a tube in your firing mechanism with a mechanical component to make a pistol receiver. For future guns, 3 wood components gives you a rifle stock, just so you can use it for your rifled guns. Now, time to make a gun. You can take a wood component, pistol receiver, a bent component, and a small bored barrel to make a pistol. The pistol holds 15 bullets, takes a small mag, and you have to cock it if it works. If they don't work because there's no bullets, then you can cock it and then shoot. You can cock it each time. Or chamber, whatever word you want to use. This is a small magazine, which goes into the pistol. A steel plate, steel spring, and bent component makes it. Now, how do I make bullets, you may be asking? Well, first, you have to take the blast furnace and make brass. Just a reminder, copper dust and zinc makes it. These are the crafting recipes Ignore the glass, it's just to separate it so it's easier to see. But one brass plate makes 16 small casings, 2 makes a medium casing, 3 makes large casings, 4 makes huge and paper, and 2 brass makes shotguns casings. Now, I used a kerosene box under this, just because at this point you should have plenty of shale oil after mining for hours. You can just go ahead and use this. Now, do I put gunpowder or something else in the bullets? You're going to fill them with propellant. Propellant is with 2 gunpowder and 2 lead dust. Now, how do I make each bullet? You may be asking. I'll show you real quick. These are all the basic bullet crafting recipes. 3 small casings, 3 small projectiles, and a propellant will give you 3 small bullets. Now, if you hover over the bullets, it tells you the cartridge size and what guns it goes in. So small bullets go in SMGs, pistols, auto pistols, revolvers, and the carbine. Medium is 3 small projectiles, 3 medium casings, a propellant, and that gives you medium armor-piercing bullets. Now, for the large bullet, 3 medium projectiles, 3 large, and a propellant gives you 3 large bullets. And then the huge bullet, which takes 2 large projectiles and 2 huge casings and a propellant. And that's the basic ammo. Now, for shotguns. Shotguns have 3 types of ammo: buckshot, slug, and birdshot. Buckshot is used 3 lead nuggets, propellant, and 3 casings. Slugs use 3 mediums, 3 casings, and a propellant. And then birdshot uses lead dust, propellant, and 3 casings. Probably the cheapest of them all, but it's birdshot. Small and wide. Now for the pistol rounds. Pistol rounds have 3 types. These aren't pistol rounds, my bad. The 3 stealth types: small stealth, medium stealth, and large stealth. Stealth rounds just don't have tracers and do the same amount of damage as normal bullets. But an aluminum dust on 3 of the small, medium, large gives you them. Another crafting recipe for small stealth bullets is a chisel instead. So instead of aluminum, you can use a chisel, just to save you some. And then these are the remaining bullet types. Small hollow point, 3 small bullets, and a chisel. Hollow points pretty much are piercing, so imagine a crossbow with the piercing enchantment. Then we have there might be a problem with the crafting recipe. One sec. Oh, well, I was wrong. I didn't fix that. That was my mistake. This recipe does not make medium AP. This makes the normal mediums. That was all on me. 3 iron nuggets on 3 medium bullets makes an AP. And then 3 iron nuggets on 3 large makes the large AP. That is all my mistake. I didn't get that closer. Now, time for more and different receivers. We're going to make a revolver receiver. It's going to take a firing mechanism and a board component. We can also make the advanced pistol receiver with a pistol receiver, mechanical component, and a steel spring. Now, aside from the pistols, we have the basic receiver, which takes a tube, 2 bent components, a firing mechanism, and a steel plate. We can then take the basic receiver and make a bolt receiver. Bolt receiver takes a simple receiver, a weapon bolt, and a mechanical component to make the bolt action receiver. Now, you may be asking, what do I use those pistol receivers for? There's 2 other types of pistols. We have the automatic pistol and the revolver. Automatic pistol takes wood component, advanced pistol receiver, a bent component, and a small board barrel. the automatic pistol, much like the normal pistol. Dry fire. You can rack it, and then you can hold down to shoot multiple bullets in a row. The revolver, however, is much different. You can dry fire and rack it and then click, and you have to do that each time. And unlike the automatic and the normal, you can load the bullets individually. So let's say I shoot a bullet, then I can rack it and shoot another, and then I can reload it however many times I want. Unlike MagFed, where when you take the magazine out, there's bullets missing. So, on to the next and end of Tier 1. With this, we're now going to go over the basic guns you can make. This is the bolt action rifle, and as you see, my screen zooms in a little bit, and that's because slowness 2 applies with this gun. Now why is that? Well, because guns have weight, and if you carry too many, or a lot of them, you'll get slowed down. Now, I can dry fire, and then charge the handle. The bolt is made with a rifle stock, 2 bent components, bolt action receiver, a large board barrel, a wood component, and a bent component. Next, we have the pump shotgun. Rifle stock, a basic receiver, a steel tube, a large bore barrel, and a wood and component. Now the pump, as most pump shotguns are, you shoot and then you have to rack it. And you can do this multiple times. Now, you can't have a pump without having a break action, or double barrel as most people call it. A double barrel takes a rifle stock, a basic receiver, a wooden component, and 2 large bored barrels. This could be cheaper or a little more expensive depending on what you pick as more expensive. But the break action, you can shoot twice and then R to reload, and it holds 2 bullets. Next, we have the anti-material rifle. This could be considered a Tier 2, but it doesn't use any Tier 2 components, so I count it as a Tier 1. Now if you crouch, you zoom in with the spyglass, and another thing is, if you hold crouch for too long, you start to get dizzy. So, you can only zoom in for so long. Anti-material rifle takes a rifle stock, 4 bent components, a basic receiver, and a huge bored barrel. Next, we have the armored peeler rocket launcher. Now this is your RPG, you load it in the front and shoot it. Has one, oh, I did not want to do that. But the ammo comes much later. So it's kind of a Tier 2, but it uses Tier 1 parts. It's just the ammo's a little more advanced. To make the peeler, you need 2 tubes, 2 board components, a wood component, and a basic receiver. And the final weapon gun is the flare pistol. The flare pistol takes 3 aluminum plates, an aluminum ingot, a firing mechanism, a tube, and a mechanical component. And that's it for all your guns and weapons and everything. Now, we're going to go over a very important tool used for later tiers, but if you're mining, it can be pretty helpful too. And this is a Geiger counter. Geiger counter takes 4 aluminum plate ingots, a nickel ingot, copper coil, 2 redstone torches, and a piece of redstone. Now remember that small engine I had you make? Well, this is going to give you the hand drill. This is a pickaxe without durability, however, it does take fuel. So, your small engine, 2 steel plates, a cast cylinder, a wood component, a diamond, and a firing mechanism is what's used. Now the diamond can be a little expensive, but for this, it's worth it. Now, this runs off of diesel. To load it, you take your diesel bucket, throw it in your offhand, R, you get your bucket back, put that bucket back in there, and it has a little noise you can hear. And And if I hold right click, I'll start mining. And it burns it through pretty fast, but it mines really fast. And I'll demonstrate this later. And finally, we have the armor the mod introduces. The steel bullet resistant helmet and the body armor vest. These are pretty cheap and nice to make, and unlike vanilla armor, these give you a little bit of resistance for bullets. Vanilla armor, bullets will go straight through. So if you're expecting to have a gunfight, bring these. Leather helmet, 3 steel plates, and you get the bullet resistant helmet. The body armor vest takes 4 steel plates and leather chest plate. I'll show it off real quick. Just a nice little helmet and body armor. And now we're done with tier 1, and we're going to move to tier 2. To start off tier 2, I'm going to just go over some of the basic agents and stuff that you'll need. Right here is the volatile dust. Takes 3 gunpowder, a redstone, and iron dust to make a volatile dust. And then you can make a pile of it with 4. Then, to make a smoke agent, you need zinc, nickel, aluminum, and gunpowder. To make a toxic agent, sulfur, beryllium, and copper. And then last is the fire agent. Probably the most expensive, with 3 aluminum, 2 gunpowder, 2 iron, and a piece of lead, and petroleum. Now, for your ammo for your flare gun, you may be wondering. It's going to take a brass plate, 2 papers, and 1 smoke agent, and 1 gunpowder. After that, these are your grenades and your throwables. We have a grenade, incendiary grenade, smoke grenade, and an incendiary bottle. This is pretty much just a Molotov. The grenade, incendiary grenade, and smoke grenade have the same crafting recipe, just with different dusts. So you have a volatile dust in the grenade, fire agent in the incendiary, and smoke in the smoke grenade. And this is a board component and a mechanical component in the crafting recipe. For the incendiary grenade bottle, 3 glass bottles, paper, and petroleum. Next are the fuses. Oh, actually, this has been fixed, so I need to fix that. So that is a sharped sheet. My bad. Sorry guys, I forgot this was updated. Oh, well, this is the shaped charge fuse. 2 copper plates, a cast cylinder, gunpowder, and redstone. So, this is pretty close to it, but I guess I need to fix that. This is the impact fuse. 1 flint, 1 gunpowder, and 1 cast cylinder. And then the third fuse is the time fuse, which takes 1 flint, 1 redstone, and 1 cast cylinder. Now, for the pesky armor peeler rocket, which can be pretty expensive, taking a shaped charge at the front, 4 bent components, a volatile dust, and propellant. I'm trying to think if I went over propellant. I believe I did. If not, I go over it again later. Now, for a flamethrower backpack. This is used much later. But 2 steel tubes, 2 mechanical components, a board component, and a leather chest plate gives you the flamethrower tank, which goes on your back spot. Nice and visible. Now, time for tier 2 weapons. This is the SMG receiver, which takes a weapon bolt, steel spring, and a pistol receiver. Pistol receiver, but it's an SMG. Well, it takes small bullets. Now, this is the advanced automatic rifle receiver, which is just a steel spring and an automatic rifle receiver. Well, how to make the automatic rifle receiver? That's right here, which takes a mechanical component, a bolt action receiver, a steel tube, and a board component. This automatic rifle receiver is for smaller magazines, and then the advanced automatic takes a bit bigger magazines in it. And last but not least, the machine gun receiver. This is used for your LMG and your machine gun and some bigger weapons we'll get to later. To make this, steel spring, 2 bit components, a steel plate, automatic rifle receiver, mechanical component, and a steel tube. Around the corner, we have the SMG magazine, which is a steel spring, bent component, and a pistol, small magazine. Next, we have the medium magazine, which is 2 steel plates, 2 bit components, and a steel spring. And last, we have the large magazine, which is 4 bit components, steel spring, and a cut component. Now, for that LMG I mentioned. Here we have the LMG magazine. 1 steel ingot, 2 bent components, and 2 springs. And then this is a very special item, a weapon suppressor. As of now, there's only 1 weapon you can add it to, which is the basic pistol, but a tube, 2 board components, and 2 bit components gives you the stealth pistol. Same functions as the other pistol. Very nice to look at. Now, these are your 3 automation machines. Still in development, and the recipes are a little mixed up and confusing. But here we have the press, which does all your hammering. This takes 6 ingots, a conveyor, a piston, and an electric motor. This is your extruder. Your extruder does a mix of your chisel and your, if I can remember the name of it, sorry. This is something I'm not well known on. I could use it for your cutters. That's right. To make the extruder, you're going to put a press in the middle, 2 steel plates, and 2 cast components. Another one is the shear. This also does a mix of your cutters and your chisels. These two kind of share some, but also have some exclusive ones. This one is more expensive with 2 cast, a plate, 2 ingots, a press, a motor, and a spring. Now, that's done for the automation machines. Now onto the explosives of Tier 2. We have the explosive barrel, a little bit bigger than a piece of TNT, taking 1 volatile dust and a barrel crafting recipe. So you have your 6 planks of your choice and 2 slabs with the volatile dust in the middle. We also have a smoke bomb, which is more like white phosphorus. Another thing too is, these do not drop when broken. So when you make them, place them down where you want, or you're not going to get them back. Your smoke bomb takes 2 smoke agents and 4 bent components. Now, time for that flamethrower I was talking about. This takes 2 advanced components, and a tube, and 2 firing mechanisms, which can be pretty expensive. But the flamethrower looks really nice. But I need a fuel tank to use it. Around this corner, we have the guns of Tier 2. Here, we have the submachine gun, or the SMG, with a rifle stock, SMG receiver, small board barrel, wood component, bent component, and mechanical component. You get the submachine gun, which dry fire, rack it, and then you can hold down to shoot. It's a little bit of a slower rate of fire. But next, we have the machine carbine, which also takes a small magazine round, or SMG magazine round, my bad. But this takes a rifle stock, a advanced automatic rifle receiver, a wood component, and a small board barrel. This, much like the SMG, you can hold down right, but you can also rack it. Next, we have the automatic rifle. This is fully automatic. Right click to shoot. Rack it like an AK. This takes advanced automatic rifle receiver, mechanical component, rifle stock, bent component, wood component, steel tube, and a medium bored barrel. Medium bored barrel. Next, we have the burst rifle. This, you can shoot, rack it back, and then it shoots bursts each time you click. This takes advanced automatic receiver, a medium bored barrel, steel tube, bent component, wood component, rifle stock, mechanical component, and another bent component. Last, we have the battle rifle. This is much like the burst rifle. However, this takes large bullets, so this is going to do a lot more damage. This takes the automatic rifle receiver, a large bored barrel, a wood component, rifle stock, bent, mechanical components. And last but not least, the faithful LMG. You can hold down to shoot as many times as you want, rack it, and this takes a machine gun receiver, a medium bored barrel, 4 bent components, mechanical component, and a rifle stock. And just for now on, we have the crafting recipes for blocks. If you take 1 steel wire, you get 32 rebar, which has a nice connected texture. Next, we have concrete. Now this isn't just any concrete, this is reinforced concrete, which takes 3 gravel, 3 rebar, and a piece of sand to give you reinforced concrete. Next, we have razor wire, which takes a cut component and 4 steel wire. You can also make wire fences. 6 wire gives you that. You could also make walls out of your concrete, which is called a concrete wall, not reinforced concrete. This takes 6 pieces, of course. Time for the end of tier 2. Here we have a block miner. As of right now, the only way you can use this is attaching it to a entity like in a Eureka ship. So this takes 2 advanced, that small engine we made earlier, 3 steel plates, 2 tubes, and a diamond block, which can be really expensive. But luckily this mines a 3x3 area like a hammer. We also have sheet metal, which can be made using 4 bent components. You can make sheet metal panes, and you could also make sheet stairs and sheet slabs in the same style as other blocks. As of right here, you have your 2 bent components gives you a slab, 3 bent components give you a stair. Next is asphalt. This is a very useful block for roads because it looks very pretty, but you also get an increased running speed on it. It's very easy, just gravel and shale, it gives you plenty of it. We also have sandbags, which can take most bullet fire. We have a stick, a sand, and a piece of wool. We also have steel trusses. This is 2 cut components and 2 wires. The last 2 items, we have a steel door, 5 steel plates, and a mechanical component. And finally, we have reinforced glass. This can take all bullet fire. 2 steel plates, or aluminum plates, and a piece of glass. And that concludes tier 2. Now, everything's going to speed up because tier 3 and 4 are pretty small. Well, tier 3 is actually pretty large. Just a quick little demonstration, or crafting recipe. Steel plates. Now, steel plates have many uses, as you can see. So, very helpful block to make. Just 4 steel plates to make steel plating. That's a lot of words, my bad. Now, time for your bombs. This is a gas bomb with an impact fuse, 2 bent components, and a toxic agent. You get a little gas bomb. Next, we have the small bomb with an impact, 2 bents, and a volatile. This makes a small bomb. Small cluster bomb. 4 small bombs and a piece of redstone gives you a cluster bomb. Now, the medium bomb. 2 volatile, impact, and 4 bent components. Gives you the medium bomb. And that concludes it for the 1 block bombs. Next, we have shell projectiles. Here we have the small high explosive with 2 large projectile hollows and a volatile dust. You get a small HE projectile. A HE projectile can be used with an extra large volatile dust and an impact fuse. Next, we have the flak projectile with an extra large, a volatile, and a timed fuse. We have a heat projectile here with an extra large, a volatile, and a shaped charge fuse. And last, we have APFS DS, armor piercing fin, stabilized discarding sabot. A lot of stuff. Just imagine it as armor piercing. This takes 4 cast components and a depleted uranium ingot. Now, if you don't feel like getting into uranium yet, you can just use netherite. Now, how do I turn these into shells? Oh, well, that's not there. Oh, bummer. Okay. Well, here's the small shell. With propellant, 2 brass plates, and the small HE projectile, you get a small shell, which goes in the heavy autocannon. Next, the large solid shell. Now this is the same for these ones. I just forgot to put the item there. This makes the large solid shot. So we have an extra large projectile, not hollow, propellant, and 4 paper. Next, the large HE. 4 paper, 2 propellant, and the high explosive. This is for your heat shell. 4 paper, 2 propellant, and a heat projectile gives you the heat shell. APFS DS, 4 paper, 2 propellant. And same for the flak. 4 paper, 2 propellant, and the flak shell. Now time for the artillery shells. With a huge projectile, you can make an artillery shell. Artillery solid shot. So this has almost no explosive. It's just gonna be like a cannonball hitting the ground, or a rock. Now, you can turn this into a high explosive shell, with a huge projectile hollow, 2 volatile dust, and an impact fuse. You could also make gas shells, if you want to gas those trenches. 2 toxic agent, huge projectile hollow, and an impact fuse. Now for all of those, you're going to need your artillery propellant. 3 propellant and 3 paper gives you artillery propellant. Well, I guess we're getting a crafting bench out, because I forgot what these make. My bad. So if we take the propellant, volatile dust, mechanical component, we get mortar shells. That's what these are. So, you have your normal mortar shells, which makes 4 of them. And this is your smoke mortar shells, which will just have a white ring around them. If we go around the corner, we have the machine gun. Now, with a machine gun receiver, 2 steel ingots, 2 plates, 2 springs, a large board barrel, a mechanical component, you'll get your machine gun, which looks like this. Machine gun. Next, we need the machine gun box. 4 cuts and an LMG box gives you the machine gun ammunition box. Now, for the machine gun, you're going to need only 1 machine gun barrel, which is a large board barrel and a board component. Now, those mortar shells, you may be asking, what can I use those for? Well, we have a smoke launcher and a mortar. The smoke launcher is 3 tubes, 2 ingots, and a mechanical component. This only takes smoke shells. However, your mortar, which is a steel gear two mechanical components, a huge board barrel, and a board component, can take both smoke and normal shells. Now, for your guns, you're going to need an autocannon drum for these next three. The autocannon drum can take 200 or I believe it is 75. Let me see real quick. I have them right here. So, 200 huge bullets or 75 small shells. I was correct. So, to make an autocannon drum, you're going to need 4 cut components, 3 steel plates, an electric motor, and an LMG mag. You're also, for your guns, are going to need some barrels. So if we take 4 huge barrels and a mechanical component, you can get your rotary autocannon barrel. Now a rotary autocannon, how do I make that? Here's your rotary autocannon. You have a machine gun receiver, 2 electric motors, 2 advanced components, 2 blocks of steel, and a rotary autocannon barrel. Next, we have the heavy autocannon. This takes 2 steel springs, 2 steel plates, a machine gun receiver, a block of steel, and that autocannon barrel. Now, this says a heavy autocannon. Does it take the autocannon barrel? Yes, it does. Both the heavy and the light autocannon take the autocannon barrel. The light autocannon takes 2 springs, an ingot, 2 plates, and an autocannon barrel to make. Now, how do I aim these guns? Do I hop on them? Do I hold them? Well, you're going to need an aimer, a weapon aimer to be exact. We'll go over this a lot because this is a very important tool later. But it takes 2 steel gears, a glass pane, and 2 plates. Now, time for the big guns. These are what's going to go on most of your big vehicles if you make them. We have a Battlecannon. This is much like a tank cannon. This is the autoloader, and it loads the shells into the cannon above it. As you can see, there's a red output circle and multiple input circles all the way around. Bottom included, because it can feed into the bottom. To make this, you're going to need a conveyor lift, Battlecannon barrel, electric motor, and steel plating. How to make a Battlecannon barrel? Well, back in the foundry and the lathe, we made the Battlecannon barrel. So just go back and look at those. Now the Battlecannon. This is an expensive piece of equipment. To make this, you're going to need a Battlecannon barrel, 2 steel plates, 2 steel blocks, 2 springs, a gear, and a firing pin. Here's your Battlecannon. Very basic, very nice. Next, the artillery gun. Very powerful piece of equipment that can shoot over 500 blocks away. 2 steel platings, conveyor lift, artillery barrel, and electric motor. Gives you the charge autoloader. Next, we're going to need the cannon loader to load the shells. This takes a motor, a conveyor lift, steel plating, and an artillery barrel. Now time for the gun itself. The artillery cannon breech. 3 steel springs, a steel gear, 4 steel blocks, and an artillery barrel to make it. Now, time for a fan favorite and just about everyone in the community. The armor peeler rocket pod. Much like the RPG, this shoots armor peelers. However, it can hold 9 in it, as you can see right there. So, 8 tubes, a mechanical component, gives you the armor peeler rocket. You're also going to need 2 rocket pod chambers. So you're going to want to take 9 tubes in your crafting box and make a pod chamber. Now you're going to want to make 2 of these because you need 2 of those and 1 rocket pod. Now, what if I wanted to control multiple guns at once? Or trigger them without having to be right next to them? Well, that's what an aimer node and the node trigger are for. We'll go over these more later. But these allow you to control multiple guns in an area. To make the aimer node, you're going to need 4 steel plating, a weapon aimer, 2 motors, 2 mechanical components. For the trigger, you're going to need 2 motors, 4 repeaters, 2 bent components, and a piece of redstone. Now, this needs to be fixed real quick, so I'm going to grab this, if I can remember where it's at. Sorry, this was just updated, so I have to change this. That goes there, that goes there. This is a solid rocket fuel pack with 4 propellant, a mechanical component, and 2 steel plates. You get a solid rocket fuel pack. Now, we need ordnance fins. These are for bombs that are dropped, not launched. So, they're multi-block bombs and rockets, which is what this line is for. So for your ordnance fins, you're going to need 2 plates, 2 bent components, 2 aluminum plates, 2 mechanical components, and a brass fitting. Now that's solid rocket fuel. You're going to put at the top, ordnance fin, steel tube, 4 bent components, 2 aluminum plates. That gives you an ordnance thruster. Now, time for the core. A core is needed for all modular bombs. With 4 plates, 2 bent components, 2 mechanical components, and a repeater, you can get your ordnance core, which looks a lot like this. Next, we have an ordnance core warhead for your bigger bombs that need more explosive behind it than just a warhead. With 2 large volatile dust piles, 4 plates, 2 bent components, 5 plates actually, you get that warhead. Now, these are your normal nose warhead and your fire nose warhead. These have 2 recipes, which is why they're like this. So I'll give you a minute to look at these. They take bent components, plates, large volatile dust, fire agent for the fire ones, and then the top take cut components, impact fuses, steel plates, bent components, and large volatile dust. Now, over here, we have a kinetic nose. Kinetic just means as it builds up energy, it does more damage. This takes a normal nose warhead, 7 steel ingots, and a tube. Now last but not least, we have the cluster warhead. Much like the cluster bomb I showed you earlier, this can be put on a bomb and a rocket. It'll launch for some time, and then explode into 4 little bombs, which will hit different spots. 2 plates, 2 bent components, and 2 cut components. And, well, that's it for Tier 3. Got the range coach here. Now, time to start off with some grenades. We'll take 2 of each. Some incendiary bombs. We're going to stand here. Throw a grenade. Very short throw. And as you can see, did a decent little hole. About 3 by 3. That was a very short throw, and there was a lot of fragmentation. So you need to be careful when throwing them. Maybe around a corner. Throw a smoke grenade real quick. Smoke grenade went a little bit farther. I can't see now. Throw a second one just to throw it so I don't have it. Smoke lasts for a pretty decent time. Wait for it to clear. The napalm bomb. As you saw, napalm went everywhere. Incendiary grenade. Now, as you see, that has about a second delay when you throw it. However, the bottle, much smaller, instantly blows up when thrown. Oh no. Let me fix this real quick. Did not need to do that. Fire range coach. Oh. Do that again. Alright. Now, the one thing everyone gets confused on, and I don't blame them, it's a very confusing part. The weapon loading and shooting. To start off, we're going to go over the pistol and the revolver. So, I have my pistol here. Now, as you see, I can rack it, dry fire. Now, most Minecraft settings, to put something in your offhand, you click F. Now for your pistol, you're going to click R to load it. You're going to rack or cock the slide with your left click, and then right click is to fire. So as you can see, shoot the pot. Oh, if I can hit. There we go. Now you may be realizing the casings are dropping. That's because your casings you can use as many times as you want. Now, I'm going to click to show you the rate of fire. Can't discharge a bullet. Jams don't exist. Just keep shooting. Oh no, I'm out. Click R to get your mag back. Now, revolver time. Revolver is pretty basic. You throw your bullets in the offhand, and each time you click R, you load one bullet. Now, you don't have to do it this slow. You can click until you're done. Throw the bullets in your back to your main hand. Now, I'm going to rack it, shoot. You have to do it each time. Pistol's nice. Does about the same damage as a normal pistol. Put those back. Now, for the fun ones. F to put in offhand, R to reload, charge it. This is the automatic pistol. Much faster. I'm already out. 15 bullets, not a lot, but it's plenty. Now, stealth pistol. Just because it says stealth doesn't mean it's impossible to hear. It is still quite loud, but it's much quieter. Now this is right here. If the bullet was being shot next to me, it'd be much louder. Throw this back in there. On to the next weapon. Here, we have the shotgun. Pump and break. We're going to go over the pump action first. We're going to take some slugs. And we're going to load 4. Now, for this, it's a two-handed weapon, as you can see. 2 hands to hold it. The pistols are different, so you have to have the item out of your offhand. Now, these are slugs, so they shouldn't go far and be pretty accurate. See if I can hit this pot. Oh, well, I took out the wood. Oh, gotta rack it. Now, one thing to note, slug is the only shotgun shell that can break planks. So, rack it. I can break that plank. Now I'm out. Try bird shot. Take out this real quick. Now, as you saw, a lot more pellets. So bird shot's a lot more spread out. Finally, buckshot. Buckshot cannot destroy the planks. Even if I wanted. But it did go through. Got some decent penetration power. Last but not least, break action. For this, I'm going to just load some buckshot, just to demonstrate. Now, as you saw, it load both bullets at once. But luckily, very quick to reload. And that's the shotguns for you. Next, the flamethrower. As I showed earlier, it goes on your back. Now how do I reload this, you may be asking? Well, I'll show you real quick. We're going to take a flamethrower tank and a bucket of petroleum. Much like everything else, petroleum in the offhand. That's real quick. And you're going to R to reload. And now the bucket is given back. And now I have a full flamethrower tank. I take it, throw it on my back, and now I have my flamethrower. Which has a large blast and plenty of ammo. So I could sit here and still have plenty of ammo left. Good for clearing buildings or burning down something that's in your way. Time for the next weapon. The submachine gun. Or if you want to call it, I guess it could be a Tommy gun. We're going to put our clip in the offhand. R to load it. We're going to rack the slide. Pretty inaccurate, as you can see. But still, a very fun gun to use. Okay, enough of that. The last and final tier, or small, not tier, small ammo. Machine carbine. Slower fire rate than that, but a lot more accurate. Now, unlike that, you can just click once and shoot once. Or, much faster, controlled fire and more accurate. Machine carbine would be for medium range fighting, well, the SMGs for short. Now, on to our first medium magazine, the automatic rifle. We're going to F to put an offhand, reload, rack our slide. Now you may see we have a bunch of different objects. That's because some of these we can destroy, some we can't. We'll start with the pot, glass, wood. Now, that was the first three. That's about 30 blocks right there. Decent fire rate. Let's go through wood. Plank. And we get stopped. That's because planks take large bullets to destroy. I can shoot this all day. Nothing's gonna happen. The dirt and the concrete. Nothing's gonna happen. Medium bullets have a lot more power. This is slow, just about the machine carbine's rate of fire, but good damage. Next, the burst rifle. We're going to put in our offhand, rack the slide. Now, that wasn't a burst, but if I hold down, that wasn't burst either. That's because there's a setting. If I go to my options and controls and keybinds, we're going to go down to miscellaneous, fire select. Now if I click G, special mode. Special mode. Now I can shoot a burst. Much faster. Lots of kick, but really fun. You know what? I feel like shooting another mag. Lots of fun. Next, we have the battle rifle. This is much like the burst, but this takes large magazines. Or not the burst, the first one we went over, the automatic. Rack the slide. Pot. Glass. Wood. this wood, and that went through the log you saw. You can destroy logs with this. Let's try the metal. Nope, sadly not. Metal is going to be a stopping point, but if someone's behind a tree, easily kill them. Or a cactus. You know. Oh, actually, the cactus is easy. Now time for a fun one. The bolt action rifle. Now, you may see there's a scope. I didn't go over the scope. That's because it's just a spyglass with your bolt action. You load 4 bullets at a time with this. Now, these bullets, large, so they do a lot of damage. Now I can't just keep clicking. I have to rack it each time I do. Oh no, it's not destroying the log. That's because even though it's a large bullet, it can't destroy it. It doesn't have a lot of power behind it. Now, we're going to go to bolt action and try doing some longer distance shooting. Okay, some shots. Now, you may see a little pot right there. Gotta expect bullet drop. You can see I'm not the best sniper. Let's try getting that glass right there. A little too high. Got it. Wait for my chill. Alright, let's get this last one. Nope, no bullets. Well, load again. I guess I did have a bullet, I just didn't rack it. My silly mistake. Right on. Takes some getting used to, but after a while, you could be an expert marksman. Okay, on to the next gun. The anti-material rifle. Now, as you can guess, this is going to go about through everything. Now, it is a single shot, and it is very slow reload. But we're going to go through wood, a log, and a metal. Crazy kick. Take our bullet, load another, get rid of this piece of metal plating. Did I miss? This should take it out. Interesting. I think it's supposed to take out a metal plating. Maybe I'm wrong. 2 hands required, yep. Oh, weird. I'll see about that. That's supposed to take out steel platings. I don't know why that's not happening. LMG time. 60 round mag. Load it in. Rack it. Now, this doesn't have a fire mode either. This is just full automatic. As you can see, only wood, no logs, very sporadic. And that's a mag. Very easy to bring through. Time for the final handheld weapon, the armor peeler rocket. Now, be careful. If you carry too many of these, you will get slow. But 4 is plenty for now. So, this, put one in your offhand with F, click R, now you're a rocket. This drops a lot. So if I aim just at that, I land just a little bit in front of it. a lot of drop this thing has. Let me aim up a little bit. I missed. Boom. Go look real quick. Piece of metal destroyed. And anything on the back would have had all that spalling hitting it. So nothing would have been alive. Aim up a little bit more. That was a little far. That was really far. Okay. Very hard to learn to aim, but when you do, it's pretty effective. Very good against infantry. Now, time for our launchers. Countermeasure, right here. Mortar. Smoke. This just shoots flares. Now, I'm trying to think. Did I go over countermeasures? I do not think I did. Maybe that's because it's more advanced. Maybe I did. Here's the crafting recipe. 4 aluminum plates, 3 steel tubes, a cut component, a firing mechanism. Here's all our ammo. We're going to take a flare gun real quick. Actually, go into time. Set night. Take our flares. Reload. Shoots a bit. And then it slows down. If I shoot directly up, it go pretty high. And then it'll slow down, slowly descend. Very nice for letting positions know, informing teammates of things. Put that back in there. Countermeasure launches the same, fills 9 of them, and launches it up. So when vehicles are made, you can have countermeasures. Why do you need countermeasures? Well, that's for you to see. Set the daytime real quick. 4,000. Alright, smoke launcher time. Take our smoke grenades, or smoke mortars. Only 3 go in it, as you can see, 3, 2. We'll load 2. Launches up. Instant fire. It's gonna land about right over there. Pretty close. Right in front of me. Now, how do you aim the mortar? A weapon aimer. Now, if I hover over this, it says 40 pitch and 1 yaw. Yaw is your left to right motion. Pitch, up and down. 40 means 40 degrees this direction. Now, if I were to set it up and down using the arrow keys. Your arrow keys control it. Left, right, up, down, negative. Now if I hold my left shift and an arrow key, I can go really fast. I'm going to set it to the basic just so you can see how far a mortar shell launches. And it's gone. Past the fence. Get myself a spyglass. Launch another. A little bit past the fence. Now, if I go about 20, much closer, should hit about the fence or inside the berm. Right inside the berm. Perfect. We'll launch another. And as you see, it's not a perfect hit. It's pretty sporadic, but that was right on the fence. Indirect fire. Put our weapon aimer back. Oh, actually, I'm going to go over how to bind a weapon aimer. So naturally, your weapon aimer will be zeroed out. You're going to take it into your offhand. Shift, right click, and now it is attached. It says weapon attached. If I grab a normal weapon aimer, no weapon attached. Shift, right click, now it's attached. Okay, on to the fun parts, the big weapons. Then we'll go over bombs and missiles. Here, I have a weapon attachment. Now, see how this is sparkling blue? That's because this is attached to this node. It also is affecting this gun, but we'll just zero it out. This is your machine gun. Now, if I hover over this and click on the node trigger, it will shoot. Now, I could be quite far away. Maybe not. Maybe I have to click. No ammo? Oh, this has no ammo. One sec while I grab an ammo box. I was like, that should have worked. Oh, it's left. Now, let's say you want to shoot and control it. Go left, right. Now, you may see this little blue line in front. What is that? Well, with a node, you can see where your gun's going. Unlike the mortar. If I want to go up, I can go up. Just to help you get a trajectory. I can even go up fast. So I want to sweep. Left. Right. We're actually going to take this mag out. Throw it in there. Grab a fresh one and demonstrate. Stop shooting out the bullets. Now, one thing you may notice, it's helpful to have a hopper nearby to pick up the bullets when they drop. We're going to take this weapon aimer, put it right back. That works on all the block weapons, the weapon aimer. Now, time for the light and heavy autocannon. This is a light autocannon. It takes huge bullets, load it in, shoot one. Now, that's pretty slow. But if I let it go, pretty decent fire rate. Small shells will pin most wooden objects. Metal, not so much. Now, the small shells, these retain steel plating. We're going to come over here, grab some steel plating. I'm just going to make a quick little wall to demonstrate. Light. Nothing. Heavy. Not shooting just far enough. So, we're gonna grab ourselves a weapon aimer. Bind it. We're gonna go up a bit. Should be attached. Let's see. This weapon node's in the way. We're going to delete that real quick. Grab another weapon aimer. Yeah. There we go. I didn't right click. There we go. I guess I have to. That's weird. It's having a right click. Might be just a little bug, or might just be how this thing works. I'm not 100% sure. But, as you saw, you can adjust it, and it didn't go through the steel plating. Now, time for one of the most fun and interesting, the rotary cannon. Rotary takes huge bullets in this box. This is very loud, very fast. Just like that, already burnt through 50 rounds. I weapon aimer should work on this one. Weird. Maybe I need to use a node for it. Maybe they're being weird and not updating. That might be the problem. You might have to use a node to update it. I don't know what's going on. Now, time for the Battlecannon. Just about my favorite weapon. So, Battlecannons take these large shells like we talked about earlier. So, grab one of each. I'm going to take the weapon aimer. Alright, that's set to 4. Now, I have a button on the back and this loader. So, we're going to put the large, high explosive, heat, AP, and flak. Now, you just heard a sound. That means it loaded a shell successfully. Very important to listen for. Now this should go pretty far. Decent little explosion with the high explosive. That was the heat. You can see by the tracer. So what we have left. Flak, AP, oh, solid was first. That was high explosive. Now we have heat. My bad. Heat. Green tracer, as you saw. APFS DS. And probably the coolest to look at, flak. Little sound wave particles. And that concludes the Battlecannon. Now for the big artillery gun. This one, a lot of people get confused building. So, I'm going to demonstrate real quick. You're going to need a cannon autoloader. You're also going to need the artillery charge. Remember, red means output, and the output has to feed into the correct sides. So, you want to make sure the reds are facing the correct way. Then, you can use one barrel, or you can use 2. Doesn't really matter. Stop our cool mod. Yeah, that's a mod making me jump here. And luckily for you, you can use hoppers and barrels to feed these in. We're going to come over here and grab our shell types. And the propellant. Gotta make sure you have that propellant. We're going to link this. We're going to go 3 should be plenty. Make sure it's linked, updated. So in the back, in this one, you're going to want to make sure you have the propellants. And in the front, we're going to load 3 of each shell. Heard that little piston noise? That means the shell was loaded. 3 gas, and 3 solid. And back here, just 9 propellants. And now, it'll make a noise for the propellant too. We are now locked and loaded. Place a little button. Take our weapon aimer and fire. Did not update. Come on. I'm going to attach a node because I'm tired of these not working. Don't know why they're not working. I'll just delete this once it's done. There we go. Yes, I guess the node is just what you need. Another high explosive. I'm going to go up just a bit more. That was gas. Gas shell. Gotta wait for it to piston. Now there's a cooldown, so you can't just spam the button. Gotta wait. Another gas. So as you can see, artillery, very effective. Actually, I want that node back. I'm going to show you just how far I can launch a shell. We're going to go 20 should be pretty good. Well past the range, and we can go even further. 44.5 degrees, almost a 45 degree, perfect arc. It's pretty far. Now, longer barrel and more stuff will make it go farther. Everything besides the artillery can have a maximum of 7 barrels, besides the machine gun, because it only needs 1. The artillery can have 9. Now this is 7. But that concludes it for the guns. Now onto the bombs and rockets. Here we have armored peeler launcher. Now this sadly cannot be aimed, but who needs to aim when you can rocket spam? Now what I'm going to do for this, attach the lever, on top, prepare for chaos. Lots of fun, easily rapid fireable. Much like a Katusha rocket truck, if you know what those are. I keep destroying my building. Alright, we're going to come back to the rockets in a second. Here, we have the different types of bombs. Actually, I need to go fix one. These are the multi-block bombs. I'll show the small bombs here in a second. I have them set out here so we can destroy them. Come over here real quick. Okay, this is a heavy bomb, napalm, large cluster, blockbuster, and the super heavy. Now, these are multi-block, so you have to build them correctly, and you power them from the cores. So, as you can see, here's the different types, how to build them. Now, we're going to detonate just the basic little bombs, so you can see how they work. Okay. So, small bomb. Drop. Pretty cool. Has that little arc over. And there's small gas bomb. Of course, gas, no damage. We're going to do small cluster bomb. So this is 4 small bombs. Decent size explosion. Finally, small medium bomb. Shrapnel. Decent explosion, as you can see. Okay. Time for the big bombs. Heavy. It's not gonna work. I think I set these up wrong. Or they're just too far. Fine. I guess we'll detonate them from here. I was going to use the create thing, but nice big explosion from the super heavy. Little napalm. Looks bad because it's in a hole, but I promise it looks better. Small bombs from a big bomb. This is the kinetic front, so this is the blockbuster. This one is very glitchy, but it is designed to go through like 30 blocks into the ground before exploding. There you go. See, it did it a little bit. So the whole point of this is you drop it on a bunker, it goes down a bit, and then explodes inside. Meant for penetrating. And lastly, super heavy bomb. Big explosion. Comparative to some old Minecraft nukes, if you want to say. Okay. Rocket time. The most fun and interesting things to do. So, we're going to come over here. Here's our 4 types of rockets. Cluster. So, the way rockets are built. Take your ordnance thruster, your ordnance core, and your warhead. Now, be very careful, because rockets are very iffy on how you build them. So the direction you build the core, ordnance thruster, and warhead on top is the direction it'll fly over you. So let's say this is north, and I built it facing north. It's going to go south. So this is the way it arcs. It arcs behind you. It's the easiest way to explain it. So we have the cluster, the fire, the normal rocket, and the IR. We're going to launch the cluster. There it goes. It split into the 4. Now it'll explode. Pretty far. About 200 blocks is the range. Fire. 20 of fire. And the normal. Go to bed.
What's all this talking you're doing?
Making a video tutorial for a mod I've been helping work on. Gone through everything. Yeah, I've been doing it for an hour and a half. It's long. Alright, IR time. So the IR is infrared. So this is a little camera. Now what we're going to do is we're going to launch a rocket from over there. It's going to seek it and destroy it. That sucks. It's not what it's supposed to do. Let's try that again. They are very finicky and you have to shoot them at the perfect time. This time, we'll have it a direct path. Mid-air collision. And that's it for the rockets. Now, one thing to note with the rockets. Let's take a thruster, core, ordnance, and an aimer. Weapon aimers can be used on rockets only horizontally. So you can only aim the rocket horizontally. So we're going to bind it to the core. And then let's do up 13 over the max amount. So this rocket's going to go way over. So let's give you a redstone block. And fire. So horizontally, you can fire rockets. But if you launch it up, it's all about trajectory and launching it from a right distance. And that concludes it for the weapons. On to tier 4. The tech. We're going to start here with a tech component. This, vital for tier 4 components. We're going to need 2 beryllium ingots, a gold ingot, repeater, advanced component, 2 wires, and 2 copper plates. 2 copper wires. Now, we could use that to make NVD helmet. Just night vision. If I throw this on, doesn't look that amazing. I could do time, set, night, go outside, see really well compared to off. Back inside we go. Alright, to make the NVD helmet, you need a bent component, 2 amethyst, 2 mechanical components, and your bullet resistant helmet. This is for your IR seeker. This is a tier 4 weapon. You need your ordnance nose warhead, 2 tech components, 4 advanced components, spyglass, a weapon aimer. You also need a giant coil, which is for different stuff. But this takes 8 steel or copper coils and a cast cylinder. Really old component. Haven't used that in forever. Now, what is the copper coil for? We're making a centrifuge. Very important for uranium processing. 1 steel plating, 4 steel ingots, conveyor lift, giant coil, 2 copper coils. And that is for the top. Next is the core. 2 advanced components, 2 steel tubes, 2 copper coils, a board component, and 2 steel plating. And now for the bottom. Just the top flipped, you get your coil, 4 steel ingots, conveyor lift, steel plating, 2 copper coils. Is this the right order? Yes. Okay. Now, we have a reaction component, which takes a uranium ingot, 4 beryllium, 2 blocks of nickel, 2 advanced components. After that, for the breeder reactor, that's what we're going to work on. This is your nuclear reactor pretty much. You need tech component, 2 nickel, 2 blocks of aluminum, 2 advanced components, and the reaction component. After that, we're going to make a neutron reflector. This takes a steel plating, 8 beryllium. As you can see, beryllium is going to be really important in tier 4. Now, the reaction core. This is your center block, very important. 4 reaction components, 2 neutron reflectors, and a tech component. After that, we're going to make a shielding component. This takes 4 blocks of lead, 4 steel ingots, and a neutron reflector. Sorry, let's just make sure I wasn't muted still. Next, breeder reactor interface. This is the top and where you're going to put in items and control it. This takes 2 blocks of aluminum, 3 steel plating, 2 advanced components, and a reaction component. Next, control rod. Control rod takes 4 beryllium ingots, advanced component, and 4 steel plates. Now, the reaction chamber. Tech component, 2 blocks of aluminum, 2 copper coils, reaction component, advanced component, and 2 steel plating. Time for the reactor casing. This is pretty cheap, 4 beryllium, 3 reinforced concrete, and 2 steel plates. Now time for the fuel. You have all the blocks now needed, but you have to fuel it. So you need empty fuel rods. This takes 4 steel tubes, then 4 beryllium ingots, and a reaction component. After that, you need uranium fuel rods. So you're going to need 1 neutron reflector, 6 steel plates, beryllium, and a uranium enriched ingot. How do you get that? Well, we'll go over that when we get to the centrifuge. For now, we have a couple more recipes. You're going to want to make a fission bomb. That's the end point of Warium, to make a fission bomb. Destroyer of worlds. It's a 9 kiloton stationary nuclear warhead. And those things, they improve implosion lenses, fission core, and impact fuse. That's what you need inside of it. So, we're going to take 2 advanced components, 2 shielding, and 4 blocks of lead to make the fission bomb. Now, you can't just place it down, boom, blow up the world. You need the components inside. Or, you can drop it, just like a multi-block. For that you need Hornet's core fission bomb, which takes your fission bomb, redstone repeater, 4 steel plates, and 3 advanced components. You're also going to need the Ordnance Fission Initiator head. This takes 4 steel plates, propellant, beryllium, and an impact fuse. Now, we're going to come around this corner, and we're on the last 4 crafting recipes, and then we're done. We're going to need an implosion module. What's that for? Well, that's to make the implosion lens. So, you're going to need 2 steel plates, 3 volatile dust, shape charge fuse, advanced component, and lead ingot. Then, 2 implosion lenses, 4 plates, 2 beryllium, and another uranium enriched ingot. And that gives you 1 implosion lens. You're going to need 6 of these. So, get to crafting. Now, the final and most important thing, fission core. But before we get that, we need to make a plutonium core. Highly radioactive. But inside our good old trusty foundry that we haven't used in forever, we need a component foundry template and 4 plutonium ingots. Now, once you smelt that, you'll get the core. And the core, with 2 shielding components, 3 advanced components, or 6 advanced components, you get the fission core. Now, we're going to take a quick step back and go to the production line. This is your centrifuge, just expanded so you can see how it works. You'll need 8 giant coils, centrifuge bottom, core, and top. I'll show you how these work in a second. This over here is a quarter of your reactor, which takes 2 reaction chambers, 8 control rods, and 8 reactor casings for 1 quarter. You're going to need this 4 times, excluding these center reactor casings right here. You're also going to need empty fuel rods. Did I go over normal fuel rods? I cannot remember. Yeah, I did. Okay. So your empty fuel rods go on top, and then you put 4 fuel rods inside of them. I'm pretty sure I went over fuel rods. I feel like I skipped it. I didn't. Okay. I'm just going crazy. And then you're going to need your breeder reactor interface, reaction core, and breeder reactor port. Now, time to show you how these things work. To the reactor room. Here we got Oppenminer. Working hard. We're going to go in here. This is your multi-block with some automation stuff put on it. Same over here. This is what your reactor will look like. And if you have these little blue particles, that means it's complete. This one displays particles when it works too. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a hopper, and we're going to have uranium dust. The uranium dust goes into the center of the centrifuge. Then, what it produces is on the top, you get enriched tiny dust. And on the bottom, depleted dust. For this enriched tiny dust, 9 of it makes 1 dust. And then the dust you smelt, and that gives you an ingot, if it lets me look. Uranium enriched ingot, right here. So that's how you get it. You need to build a centrifuge. So, we're going to feed it real quick. Now, you may be asking, what is the time for this uranium dust process? 200 seconds. Yes, quite long, but these are very cheap to make. So if you set up multiple of them, you'll get it done really fast. I'm actually going to take that apart. It's very loud and I do not feel like listening to it. Finally, the reactor. Now, of course, while I've been doing this, it ran out of fuel rods, because it burns fuel rods pretty fast. I'm going to look for... Now, sometimes it will take a 5th one, but that's just because it's putting one into storage. So don't worry. Just ate 16 of them, plenty of noises. And now, how do we feed this? This takes enriched dust and gives us plutonium nuggets, which is used for the plutonium core. So you take your plutonium nuggets, 9 of them, you get 1 plutonium core. So you need 4 ingots. I'm going to feed it real quick. And if you hear this noise, that means your multi-block is built correct. And how long does it take to give us 1 nugget? 400 seconds. Very long. It takes a very long time to work. Now, we're not going to sit here and wait for 36 nuggets to produce. We're going to go build the bomb ourselves. Now, we're going to go pretty far away, because I do not want to blow up my hard work. Need to go farther. Now this is just world edit. Okay. The moment everyone's been waiting for. How do I make my bomb? Well, we're going to take fins, a core, ordnance core fission, and our initiator. Now, this is an impact. If you wanted a time one, you could do just the standalone bomb. Now, we're going to come over to our production. Now, here it is. It's actually in the bombs. I was just a little blind. Take our fission core and our improved lenses. And we're going to drop the bomb. Quick lag spike. Very big, very explosive. This ring blast radius will destroy about most trees and leaves and everything. Oh my gosh, that dirt got pulverized. Oh, that's a redstone block. Now, since this wasn't sand, it melted everything into terracotta and other stuff. Dirt gets pulverized differently. I'm going to wait for this to clear up. It can be very laggy on PCs, so I suggest only dropping one. But anything in the blast radius of the center will be gone. Nothing lives. But we have terracotta, trinite, and tough. but mixed in. We also have radioactive ash. What was Trinite used for? Nothing. It was just a pretty block from explosions. But plenty of radioactive here. If I were to grab a Geiger counter, just so we can read how bad it is. It's actually not that bad. It's a pretty clean bomb. If you're holding radioactive material or near a reactor, it's really bad. Let's see. So if we stand on the radioactive ash, it gets bad. But, as you can see, massive blast radius. Lots of stuff would have been burnt. But, that's Warium, guys. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial and found it useful. If there's any questions, ask in the comments or join the Discord server. And, yeah. Have a good day.